A coworker was eating people's lunches, so I ghost peppered them and got them fired. From user James Jaceable. After that, boss tries to screw up my promotion and gets fired. 2 for 1. From user Libertarian Guy. And then we'll be wrapping up with entitled Dad tries to steal my phone, attacks me when I refuse to give it up, and is met with instant karma. From user Deadly Maelstrom. Thank you so much to our posters for letting us read your stories, and if you would like us to read your stories next, please submit them to the r/Mr. Reddit subreddit. And if you're new, please subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories every single day. A coworker was eating people's lunches, so I ghost peppered them and got them fired. So, I like to bring my own food into the office, and we have a fridge to put things into. And I have my food in tubs with my name on them. A coworker would sometimes not see people's names on food and think it was theirs, so would heat it up and eat it and then apologize. They did this enough for it to be an annoyance, but not enough for our employers to really care. This has been happening with my food for once or twice a month. Last month, I had enough, and I like spicy food, but don't bring it into the office, as sometimes I'll let people try some of my food and my cooking. I ordered a bag of ghost chili peppers and put a full bag into a big pot of chili that would last for several days. I took this into the office and had it for lunch every day. Midweek, my lunch went missing, and I was waiting for the person who was stealing my lunch to get a shock when they ate my lunch. What happened in reality was someone got sent home sick, and the next day they were off, and I was told they went to the doctors for stomach pains. 2 weeks went by, and the coworker who was off refused to talk about it and said HR was involved, so I knew they were going to try to get me fired. I went home and ordered another bag of ghost chilies and made another batch of my chili, this time with only one chili in a single tub. I put this in the freezer, and the following Monday, I was told I had an HR meeting that day. I refused and said they need to give me 24 hours to find someone to come into the meeting with me, and the next day I had my manager come into the meeting and brought in my, now heated, ghost chili infused chili. The long and short is I was told I could be fired for trying to poison the person who was stealing my lunch, and I asked if they admitted to stealing people's lunch, which they did. I then said I have a batch of the chili in question with me, and I like spicy food. My liking spicy food shouldn't stop me from having it at work, since it doesn't smell when heated, like fish. And my manager agreed it was on the person who took my lunch without knowing how spicy it was, and I should not be held liable if they eat something of someone else's that doesn't agree with them. My manager and I then ate some of the chili and offered it to the other people in the meeting, some of which tried it and agreed while it was spicy, it was clearly what I liked, as I was fine eating it. The meeting ended and nothing happened. I wasn't taken into another meeting, and my lunch wasn't taken anymore. But the person who had stole our lunch got a slap on the wrist and was allowed to stay at work. Lunches started to go missing again, so my manager went to HR to say that lunches were going missing, and he knew who was taking it and had proof this time. And when they asked for the proof, he presented the meeting record with the line highlighted where they admitted they had stolen lunch and the line where HR had said this was not what the meeting was about. They were fired the next day for theft of property and told they would not be given a reference. Next we've got, boss tries to screw up my promotion and gets fired. Hey Mr. Reddit and Re-Army. First time posting, so not sure how Reddit works. English is my first and only language, so feel free to roast me. So this all happened over a 3-year period starting in 2001. This is a bit long, but well worth the read. I have an r/ProRevenge story for you. I work in a field that is very small, so I'm not going to elaborate, as we all know each other regardless of company we work for or where in the US we live. A little backstory. I live in a warm state, and was offered a job in a cold state with the promise of being transferred back to the warm state just as soon as the person they had working there was let go. They were afraid of complications in firing this person, so it was going to take a while to get rid of her. I took the job as once this woman was gone, 6 months to 1 year max I am told, I was going to have an entire state and surrounding states to myself with no management breathing down my neck. I get to the cold state and find out they do not have a specialist in my niche. This is important later. So I knew I was going to be busy, which is just the way I like it. Everything is going great with the company for about 6 months. I get along with everybody. I am put in charge of the night shift. I had about 16 years experience at this time. For those doing the math, that puts me in my mid-50s now. So this was not unexpected. Then they finally fire the woman in warm state, so I think I am going home. Well, if you read these posts, you already know that ain't going to happen. Our cast. We've got OP, just a guy that wants to live life on his own terms. We've got BB, the CEO/owner of the company. We've got area manager over all shifts. We've got general manager of all facilities. We've got vice president of the company, works in the warm state. And we've got stupid coworker, gets promoted over me. This is a 2-for-1 special on Revenge. So, area manager has really liked my work up until this point, giving me rave reviews, etc. Then, just before the woman in warm state is fired, suddenly I am getting bad reviews and everything I do is being picked apart from a QA standpoint. We are talking misspellings and personal notes to myself in the system, etc. Well, then the news comes down. The warm state woman has been fired and they replaced her with a new guy to the company due to some deal CEO made with a CEO in a company he was buying out. So my transfer will have to wait. I am given a project to head up back in my warm state as the new guy was just not up to the task. Great. I go back to warm state and meet the new guy. He is a complete idiot. I know this guy is just not going to last, and 6 months later, yup, he's fired. So now I'm thinking, great, my turn to take over the warm state, move back into my own house, etc. As I'm sure you know, this is not going to happen. I have a big fight with area manager about this and go to see general manager to see if we can get this resolved in my favor. The general manager says, "No, I have all these write-ups from area manager. I can't have you running our warm state facility." I tell him to read the write-ups and he will see they are all bogus. He does not read them as he trusts his area manager. So I go to see CEO to see if I can get some satisfaction. This company is only about 50 employees spread over 3 states, so walking into the CEO's office is not a big deal. He gives me the same line as the general manager. So I tell CEO I'd rather drive a taxi in warm state than stay in cold state another winter. Area manager tells me I am a great employee, just not cut out to run warm state. It is September and it's starting to snow in September in this cold state. I am not accustomed to cold weather and have no desire to become accustomed to it. So I gave CEO my 2 weeks notice and take my 2 weeks vacation. I move back to warm state and drive a taxi for the next year or so. It was a totally stress-free job as compared to my normal work. I find out that area manager wanted me to stay because he wanted me to continue working for him and making his area big bucks. While I am driving taxi in warm state, area manager is moved to warm state to head it up. He finds out I have not found a new job in my normal area of business, so he calls me up and asks me if I want to come work for him again in warm state. I say sure, but find out it is for a severe cut in pay. Still more than what I am making driving taxi, and do love what I do, even though it can be a bit stressful. A couple of months go by, and I get a job offer in yet another state for more than my regular salary. So I tell them I need to give current employer 3 weeks notice as I did not want to burn bridges. I tell area manager that I was offered a new job in a different state at a reasonable pay and am giving him 3 weeks notice. He understands but is not happy about it. Next day, the vice president calls me into his office. VP: Why are you quitting? Me: I got a job offer at a reasonable pay in another state, and that I just can't afford to live on the salary he is paying me. VP: What if I pay you what you were making in Cold State? Me: I would stay for that, but given CEO's pertinacity for playing games with words and not following through with promises, I will need the job offer in writing. VP: I understand. I will have the contract made up and we can both sign it. Sound good? Sounds good. 3 weeks go by and no contract. I go into the VP's office. Me: Today is my last day. No contract. I will be moving out of state in the morning. I am working at customer site today, all day. So if you want me to stay, you will need to have it ready when I return. VP: No problem. It will be ready on my desk when you return. Just come back straight to my office. I return at the end of the day, and area manager is nowhere to be found. So I go to the VP's office, and he is sitting behind his desk with the new contract in hand. Me: Where is area manager? Wanted to let him know that I was back and all went well at customer site. VP: Area manager is no longer with the company. I could not afford to pay you your desired wage and keep area manager. Stupid coworker will be the new area manager. Me: Really? Why not just let me go then? VP: Because you make me 10 times what area manager was making me. It's simple math. So the manager that kept me from going back to warm state is now out of a job and I have my regular payback. But wait, there's more. So 2 more years go by working for stupid coworker, which is no problem for me. Not the job I was looking forward to in the beginning, but not a bad situation. Then stupid coworker gets married and stupid coworker's wife gets a job working as a receptionist. She's a bit of a jerk, but whatever. I never really have to deal with the receptionist, so I don't care. Until one day, stupid coworker's wife decides that she can tell me what to do. Don't really remember what it was that she asked me to do, just told her I wasn't going to do that, and went back to my office. About 20 minutes later, stupid coworker comes into my office. Stupid coworker: When my wife tells you to do something, you need to do it. Me: I'm sorry. Since when did I start working for the receptionist? Stupid coworker: When she tells you something, consider it coming from me. Me: Okay. No, I am not going to do the thing she asked me to do. Better? Now I've told you no and her no. Thing was not in my job description. I decided I needed to make sure this did not escalate, so I made sure that everyone in Warm State facility knew I was not working for a receptionist, including the VP. Jump ahead about 6 months, and stupid coworker has been trying to ride me about every little thing. Sound familiar? Well, our little company was being bought by XYZ company, and VP was looking forward to early retirement as he had a good stake in the company. Stupid coworker then starts calling some mucky muck in the new company on the VP's phone before VP was getting to work. I found out and let VP know what was going on, and stupid coworker was fired that day. Got a call from general manager that afternoon saying I was being made area manager of Warm State. Here it is, 2019, and I am still working for the same place. Sort of. We were bought again. I have moved into a position that allows me to work from home with the same pay and half the workload I had as area manager. Life is good, and I have never seen stupid coworker or area manager again. Remember what I said about my area of business? It's a very small group. I doubt they are working in this field anymore. And our final story of the day, entitled Dad Tries to Steal My Phone, attacks me when I refuse to give it up, and is met with instant karma. Backstory: the mobile device I use is a Samsung Galaxy S5 and has been in my possession for 7 years now, but rarely does it ever get mistaken for a newer model. I bought it at Best Buy on my 22nd birthday. I'm 29 now. After my last phone, an iPhone 4S, was severely damaged beyond repair due to an accident. A brief background, but it's time to get the show on the road. The cast. We've got me, the quiet, antisocial lurker. We've got Entitled Dad, the first of his name, king of the drunkards and mayor of Stupidville. We've got Nice Kid, he's the polite kid. We've got the bakery store owner, and we've got the police officer. As I mentioned previously, this encounter happened just last week in the downtown area of my home city in New England, where everyone knows everyone. Younger neighbors help our senior citizens with daily chores. You get the idea. I always take what feels like a mile-long walk across the city whenever I get bored, but would always let my family know where I was going and always had my phone with me at all times. I went out for a jog from the center of town, over the bridge to the other side. After a while, I had a craving for something sweet and popped into a popular family-owned bakery shop. Bakery shop owner, a lady in her late 40s, early 50s, has known me for 20 years since I went to school with her son from elementary all the way up through our senior year in high school. Because the family knew me personally, they'd sometimes give me a discount whenever I popped in for a visit. Just kidding about the last part. I paid the same price as everyone else. No favoritisms here. I glanced at the display case and ordered a standard-sized s'mores cupcake, a chocolate cupcake stuffed with mini marshmallows. After I paid, I sat down at a nearby table near the front door and pulled out my phone to look at YouTube videos when Entitled Dad, mid-30s, and Nice Kid, around 8, made their grand entrance. Nice Kid looked excited to see so many sweets and pointed out which one he wanted. I'm guessing he was in the midst of having a sugar high because he was hyperactive. While Entitled Dad went to order, Nice Kid noticed my phone and walked over. Nice Kid. Excuse me. Me. Can I help you? Nice Kid. What's that? He points to my phone. This? I show him my Samsung Galaxy S5. This is my personal cell phone. Why? Nice Kid. No, I meant, what's that over it? Me. Now noticing he was looking at my phone cover and had never seen one before. Oh, you mean this thing? It keeps my phone safe in case I accidentally drop it. Nice Kid. Cool. He later continued bouncing around, and I resumed watching YouTube on my phone when I felt a tap on my shoulder. That's when I felt Entitled Dad's stench violating my nostrils. Entitled Dad. Excuse me, but my son says you offered to sell him your phone, but you took it back and said no. Give it to him now. Me, knowing for a fact it was BS, I shut off my phone. I said no such thing. Your son asked me what. Entitled Dad cuts me off. Don't talk back to me, you little brat. You speak when you're spoken to. Now do as you're told and give him back his phone. He needs it a lot more than you. The way he was yelling had started getting several onlookers' attention, to the point where even bakery shop owner had come back from the break room to see what the commotion was about. Now I have high-functioning autism, and I hate loud noises, nor do I like being screamed at or touched by people I don't know. So needless to say, I got pretty annoyed and was getting ready to leave anyway. Me. First off, keep your voice down and don't argue with some random stranger. Second, I am not, nor will I ever give your son my phone. I've had it for over 7 years and paid for it out of my pocket. Good day. He tried to make a grab for my phone, but I moved my hand out of the way and backed away. We were both roughly the same height, around 5'9", but I weighed 215, whereas he looked like he was 164, so it was pretty easy to keep him at bay for a while. Bakery shop owner by that time had already pulled out her phone and was calling the cops. I walked out, but Entitled Dad grabbed me by the arm and spun me around before bellowing the loudest but sloppiest "ree" I have ever heard. Ree! How dare you, you little jerk! I saw you take my son's phone away from him. If you don't give it back this instant, I will royally mess you up. Me, getting increasingly agitated. Dude, what is your major malfunction? Get away from me. Entitled Dad did not like that and punched me in the face. Now I will admit, it caught me off guard, and I was stunned that this random stranger would stoop so low as to actually hit me in broad daylight. But you might as well start ringing the bells. Ding ding ding, round 1 begins. The gloves are officially off. Now, under normal circumstances, I prefer avoiding trouble and don't like conflict because of my high-functioning autism and have been taught self-defense as a child and in my teenage years, such as boxing, karate, and Krav Maga, though I never thought I'd actually have to use it until now, as a surge of adrenaline mixed with a fight-or-flight instinct took over. According to those who saw the whole thing, Entitled Dad reached for my phone again, but I grabbed his wrist with my left hand and twisted it around before pulling him straight towards me, where I decked him in the eye with a right-handed cross. By the time the cops arrived, I had already had Entitled Dad pinned onto the ground where Nice Kid was crying and onlookers tried prying us apart. Police officer had stepped out of his squad car and came over. Police officer: "What's going on here?" Apparently, that was more than enough for me to snap back into reality, and I released my hold on Entitled Dad, who still kept screaming and shouting at me. But when he saw the cops, he tried to portray himself as the victim by telling the officer how he simply wanted me to tell him what time it was, how I shouted at him and threatened his only kid, blah blah blah, and how I should be arrested. All a BS story. Police officer turns to me: "Is this true?" Me: "No, officer. I was just relaxing at the bakery shop, looking at my phone after a long jog until this guy started accusing me of stealing." Entitled Dad: "Lies. I saw him do it and he assaulted me for it. Arrest him now." Police officer: "Is there any way to identify that the phone here is yours? What kind of mobile device is it?" Entitled Dad: It's an iPhone. Yeah, that's right. It's an iPhone." Me: "How many times do I have to tell you? It's a Samsung Galaxy S5, not an iPhone." I hand the officer my phone. "Here, officer, I'll prove the phone is mine. There's a lock-unlock pattern on the main screen which has to be unlocked in a particular pattern. Have him unlock it." Entitled Dad looks like a deer caught in the headlights, fumbling, trying to figure out how to unlock my phone. When it became clear that it wouldn't happen, police officer handed it back to me before bakery shop owner sprang to my defense. Shop owner: "We also have CCTV footage to prove that OP was not the aggressor and a couple of witnesses to prove it." Police officer: "Do you still have them?" Shop owner: "At all times." Cop turns to me and Entitled Dad: "Wait here while I examine the tapes." It took a while for both bakery shop owner and police officer to come back, but police officer came back outside and slapped Entitled Dad with a pair of shiny handcuffs as Nice Kid's mother rolled up after bakery shop owner informed her what was going on. Apparently, the two were separated and in the middle of a pretty nasty divorce, as Entitled Dad was on probation for theft after being released from jail 6 months ago. This gave Nice Kid's mother the perfect opportunity to gain full custody of Nice Kid. She apologized to me for Entitled Dad's behavior, and I told her it was all right. Police officer decided my actions were justifiable as I only acted in self-defense, and Entitled Dad was going back to jail. Police officer asked me if I wanted to press charges, but I declined and was free to go. I figured Entitled Dad getting his butt kicked is punishment enough. And shoutouts to our re-generals of the day, the Frog Lord, Chissy Spider, and Kiki Star. Become tomorrow's re-generals by leaving as many re's as you can in the comments below.